Welcome to the pruning video series. These high density or super spindle trees are probably at least 15 years old. So you can see the trunk is quite a bit larger than the other trees we were dealing with. But you can see whoever's pruned this before has actually done a fairly good job at keeping out the bigger wood. Most of the wood that's coming out of the central leader, or the main trunk of the tree, is definitely less than 50%. So what we're going to be focusing on is actually reducing the crop load. And again, we have branches that are crossing each other already, and once they have leaves on during the growing season, that's going to shade out the rest of the tree. So we're going to have to remove some of those branches. So again, we're looking for sunlight, we're looking for spacing, and we're looking for one branch in one direction in most cases. So first of all, I'm going to do a quick scan of the tree, and I'm going to look down at the bottom of the tree, and I'll notice that the bud unit is actually very close to the ground. Now this means that it's almost scion rooted. There's a lot of energy or power to this tree. So again, I probably want to leave quite a bit of a crop load on this tree because I know it has a lot of power. If I prune it too much, then all the power has to go somewhere, and that growth or that power is going to turn into vegetative growth. That's not what I want. I want to grow fruit here. That's what we're in the business of doing. So let's do that. When I look at these branches down here, I'm noticing that we've got way too much fruit for the space. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to thin out fruit as we prune. Let's take out some of these longer branches. We're going to cut them back. Even these branches here, we're going to reduce the amount of crop load on here because we can't have 5 pieces of fruit on a tiny little dard or a tiny little branch. Can't support the load. So let's take it out now, then we won't have to deal with it later. Anytime we have multiple branches going in multiple directions, we're going to take those out. Again, we're going to reduce the crop load there. We're going to take it back to another branch. So that's probably pretty good. We've got maybe 1 or 2 pieces of fruit hanging here. We've got 1 piece of fruit hanging here, 1 or 2 pieces of fruit hanging here. That's all that branch can support. Let's move on to the next branch. This is actually not bad, except I'm going to take some of the fruit off the bottom. Now we'll just have 2 pieces of fruit there. This branch is totally fine. I'm going to leave it. This next branch here, I've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. I've got way too many fruit buds happening here, so I'm going to get way too much fruit. Again, the fruit will be almost the size of my fist. So 1, 2, maybe 3 pieces of fruit. That's all I can have. So I'm going to take that off, take that off, take this off back there. It's a little ugly, but it's okay. We'll leave it. Again, I've got multiple directions going on here, so I'm gonna again start pruning this back like that. I'm gonna have 1 or 2 pieces of fruit on here. That's all I can handle. If we move up here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of fruit. Again, the fruit is going to be the size of my fist. It's not going to be able to handle 4 pieces of fruit, guys. Let's take those off. Here we go. 1 piece of fruit, that's all we can handle. Got some fruit in here. Again, 1 piece of fruit here, 1 piece of fruit here, 1 here. Okay, let's move up to the next branch, up to here. Now this is an example of where we maybe need to do a renewal cut. We've got a whole bunch of blind wood here, and the fruit keeps moving away from the tree, keeps moving away from the trunk. We want to keep the fruit fairly close to the trunk in these kind of tight spacings. But again, you know, do we want to remove it? We could do that. So now we're going to have some more fruit on the end. We may have 1 piece of fruit here, so 1, 2, 3 pieces of fruit. It's not bad. Let's leave it. So we're going to move over to this other tree here nearby. Now this branch is going to be shading all this fruit here when it develops. We don't want that. So again, let's cut back to another branch right there. So looking again at these little branches, we've got lots of fruit on here, or lots of potential fruit. But again, the branches probably can't support all that fruit, so we're gonna have to take it back. We gotta thin it out now. We could probably maybe have 1 piece of fruit there, 1 piece of fruit there. If we look at this branch right here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of potential fruit on here. There's no way we can have 8 pieces of fruit on that. Let's take it back right now. The one right below it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At least 5 pieces of fruit on here, maybe 2. And talking about dead or diseased or dying wood, we've got a piece of dying wood here. I don't like to see that. If we leave dying wood on the tree, it will actually start to possibly infect the rest of the new growth or the new cambium or bark. So So getting a little further up in height as far as the tree goes, we've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got a lot of branching, small branching, which is good, but there's just too much of it. There's no way that we're gonna be able to support any even close to this kind of crop load on this tree. So we're gonna start just thinning up. Anything that's going upright, we're gonna take it out. Again, this kind of stuff, like this branch right here, it's heading right over top of this other branch. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that out. But again, I want to come back almost flush to another branch to leave it a straight outlet. We're gonna have really nice fruit on here next year. If you look at this branch right here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 4 potential fruit buds on this branch. Way too much. It can't hang 4 big apples on it. It's probably gonna break off. So we're just gonna go ahead and cut it back. We're maybe gonna have 2 maximum. That's okay. So if we go a little bit further up here, we've got a number of branches here coming out of one spot, which is an issue. So again, we're gonna go ahead and take some of those other branches out. We've got some dead wood. We can maybe deal with 2. Now these 2 branches here, again, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or more pieces of fruit on that branch. There's no way that it can have that much fruit. We're just gonna come back and take it to maybe 1 or 2 buds. And same with this branch is here as well. All right, and they're fairly new branches, which is good because they're fairly young. They're gonna grow good fruit for us. Looking a little bit further up, this branch is actually almost too big. We've got lots of options around that branch. I think I'd probably just take it right out. Again, we'll just do a flush cut and we'll get rid of it because that's gonna be shading all of this stuff down below. All I'm doing is taking out some of these spurs, right, or potential fruiting areas because there's way too many here. And we can't support all of them. There we go, so I'm cleaning things up. So again, think of where the fruit is gonna hang. Maybe piece of fruit here, piece of fruit here, piece of fruit here, piece of fruit here. That's all we can deal with. All right, now on this tree here, you'll see we've got some bigger branches on the bottom, or it's almost called a whorl, which is okay because these trees are spaced approximately 2 feet apart or around 60 centimeters in distance. And so we've got a little bit more room. And again, on the bottom, we're not worried about shading anything below because we don't really have anything below. So we can leave some slightly bigger branches, which is great. But we still need to prune these back. Now, this one's heading straight up, so let's take it right out. That's easy. These ones are too long. I don't want apples hanging too low. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and prune right back to that boar shoot. This particular branch is, again, it's getting too long. I'm probably gonna hit the tractor. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that back. We've got multiple directions here, which I'm not a big fan of. So I'm gonna take one of those out. 2 directions at the end. It's not ideal, but it's good enough. We wanna leave some fruit on there. This branch right below, you'll notice that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7 pieces of fruit on it. We can maybe have 1 right here and 1 right here. That's just right. All right, let's move up in the tree a little bit. This branch is actually okay. I think I'll leave it. We've got 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 pieces of fruit. Moving up, we've already done some cuts here. That looks okay. Moving up in the tree still. We've got some new growth off this side, which is good. But we have some forking up here, which I don't really like. So again, I'm just gonna go ahead and take this back to there. I still wanna leave the fruit on. I'm gonna leave this one, and we're gonna let this fruit up for next year, and then next year I'll do the cut there. Now let's continue to move up in the tree. Now in this branch, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of fruit, maybe 5. There's no way it can handle all of that fruit. So what I'm gonna do is just simply prune back to this branch. Now we just have 1 or 2 pieces of fruit, perfect. Let's move up. We've got these pieces up here. We've got a whole bunch of little spurs. We can see all those little boar shoots there. And we can see we've got some new growth from the last 2 years. We probably got some fruit on the end of there, which is good, but we've got way too much fruit. So again, we're just gonna go ahead and thin that out. We've got an upright branch there. We're gonna take that out. We've got a whole bunch of ugly stuff going on in here. This is all spur, we call it a spur bound. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, multiple, maybe 6, 7 pieces of fruit there. Again, we're gonna thin it down. 1, 2, good enough. 2 pieces of fruit. Up here on this branch, again, this is getting pretty ugly. If I had my saw, I might make a cut through here and take this right off. So as you can see, you need to know what to prune off in each scenario. Best thing to do, number 1, make sure you assess the tree first. How vigorous is the tree? How many fruit buds am I dealing with? What's the spacing? If high quality fruit is what you're after, then pruning is key. It starts with pruning, and it's probably one of the most important things that you can do on your orchard to, again, maximize the quantity and quality of your fruit. And I hope this video will actually help you get you where you need to be.